of the man's arm right here, it says VA. What does VA stand for? Virginia. Okay, so this man right here is not just the whole South anymore, right? Remember over here he was the whole South? Okay, he now represents Virginia. And it's Virginia in particular because it was Virginia that had massive resistance. Harry Byrd was from Virginia. Not all the states had massive resistance. Not all the states had Harry Byrd. Virginia did this. Okay, so we see this man, and he is Virginia. What else do we see? What do you see?
I see a war between the lightning and the storm and the boat.
Okay, there seems to be some sort of battle between the lightning and the boat. Okay, a war or a battle. What do you see? Okay, public schools closing. The name of the boat has changed. It's changed to public schools closing. Tiffany.
The title is Riding Out the Storm.
Okay, the title is Riding Out the Storm. The title has changed. He certainly looks like he's on a ride, doesn't he? Like you could go to King's Dominion and that might be a fun ride in the summertime, sort of. Okay, what else do you see, Benyam?
I see that the water is it got rough.
Okay, I heard over here crashing waves, right? It's not a nice little choppy water anymore. It's crashing waves. Melko. The boat is?
The bird is scared.
Oh, okay. The bird's kind of looking like, I really wish I could go that way. Right, doesn't he? He's looking behind him. Yeah, he's going, I'm not happy. Armias, what do you see? You right?
Thunder.
Thunder. Thunder and lightning. Okay, big scary storm. And what do you see?
I see like the man, like his face is like mad now.
Okay, he has a different face. He's got a mad face on. Show me the mad face. Mad face on. Yes, good, Cynthia. All right, what else do we see? Sabrina.
That the man. Oh, never mind. The water is rough and because of the storm with the integration on it.
Okay, the storm is probably making the water rough because storms do that to water. Okay. What else do we see?
His hat's facing downwards. That means it's really bad.
Okay, his hat is kind of pulled down and cocked different this time, right? Favi, what do you see?
There are birds that are flying away from the boat because the boat is next to the storm.
Okay, look at the birds. The birds are pretty smart, aren't they? The birds are going that way. Okay, if you were on this boat, which direction would you be going?
Opposite way.
That way, right? Everybody, I would be going this way. I certainly would be going the opposite direction because this is a scary storm, right? But he's not.
He's just going back.
Yeah, he's kind of looking like he's in for a fight, isn't he? He's kind of leaning. Notice how his body's he's not standing up like this anymore. He's now leaning.
Trying to go through the storm, fighting out to get back.
Yes. Yes and yes. Okay, Chris.
Since like the storm is trying to integrate with him, like integrate and fighting segregation, and the storm is following the boat so it could keep battling until the battle ends.
Okay, and I want to talk about that word ends. The storm is fighting the boat, right? It's shooting lightning bolts at it. It's fighting, and the storm wants to keep going, right? Yeah. And it looks like we just said he is going to he's not turning his boat around, is he? So they're going to keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And what I want to talk about is until it ends, right? What do we know about storms? What do we know about storms? I mean, had a pretty bad storm this past Sunday, didn't we? Anybody see that really scary? Saturday? Saturday. Really scary, right? They're talking about tornado warnings, all kinds of stuff. And then my street flooded. And then what happened?
And stopped.
And then
it stopped then after the sun came out. And like the storm didn't end for a long time.
Okay, the storm went on, but then at the end, there was an end, right? It stopped.
It's not going to go on forever.
It's not going to go on forever. They don't. Well, sometimes we feel like they're going to go on forever, but it's not going to go on forever, right? So this battle has an end to it at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to this. In this picture, the problem was what?
He's on top of the rock.
Okay. Yes. Can we raise our hand? Yes. Problem is the rock, and he's on top of it. In this picture, the problem is the storm, okay? Now, we said this one, eventually it's going to end, isn't it? What about this one? Is that rock going to disappear anytime soon? No. Okay. So in this picture, his eyebrows are up, and he's saying, now what, right? How come we don't use the rock in this picture? How come he doesn't have his boat going like this towards a rock? Why doesn't he have the boat going like this towards the rock? Yeah. Louder, I can't hear you, honey.
Because he might crash into the rock and die.
Because if his ship crashes into the rock, what's going to happen? It's going to hit, it's going to break, it's going to sink. Okay, now what's the name of the ship? Public schools closing. So if Fred, our friend Fred, were to draw the rock here, the same as he drew it in this picture, then what is he actually saying about public schools closing if he drew this as a rock? What would he be saying about public schools closing, Cynthia?
He'll be saying that he doesn't want, he still wants segregation. He doesn't want public schools to, he wants public schools to be closing.
Well, they are closing, but if he draws that ship crashing into a rock, does that mean that he thinks it's a good idea?
No.
No, right? So did he draw it crashing into a rock?
No.
He didn't draw it crashing into a rock, did he? I know that's really hard because that means we got to flip it around. If he doesn't draw it crashing into a rock, that means he's drawing it not crashing into a rock, right? Okay, if he drew it, I'm confusing my own self. If he drew it crashing into a rock, he'd be saying, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. But that means it's a good idea since he didn't draw a rock.
There it is. Cynthia followed my logic. He didn't draw a rock, did he?
No.
He drew what?
Nothing.
A storm. Which is scarier if you're a boat? A big rock in front of you? Think Titanic. Hello, Titanic. A big rock in front of you or some lightning and thunder?
Rock.
A big rock. Because if you're the Titanic and you hit that big iceberg, what happens? And you all die, right? But if it's just a lightning and thunderstorm and you hold on tight, you might survive it. It's going to end soon. Okay. Do you think that this picture would have appeared in a newspaper in New York City? Raise your hand. So opinions, your opinion. I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know the answer. I'm asking, what do you think? Do you think that this picture might have appeared in a newspaper in New York City? New York Times, Philadelphia Inquirer. Anyone? What do you think, Favi?
No, because since New York was a northern state, it didn't happen that way.
Okay, did you hear that? She said since New York was a northern state, it didn't happen that way. What do you mean by didn't happen that way?
They didn't integration because it was they were like all equal, but sometimes like they didn't really segregate them, but sometimes they went away by themselves.
The last thing I just want to point out is down here in the bottom corner, the date. Can anybody tell me the date? Bottom left-hand corner. Jennifer, can you tell me the date here? Okay, it says, I think 8/26, and then what's the last?
58.
58. 1958. Okay, and this one was? I already told you this at the beginning, Tiffany.
1954.
Okay, 1954. So this one was published in the newspaper right after, what happened in 1954? Brown versus Board of Education. This one was published 4 years later. So right after Brown versus Board of Education, Virginia said, what do we do? 4 years later, Virginia's got a plan.